How did you like the story Romeo and Juliet? I was thinking of that story as we were reading our story for this week, Catch Me If You Can. Kind of a love story between Atalanta and young John, trying to find each other and fall in love. And I was thinking of the an older type story like that story, and I thought of Romeo and Juliet. And thought you would enjoy hearing that to begin our ELA lesson today. It's an AR book, AR test you can take on it. So hope you enjoyed that story. Well, we got to get right into our ELA today. I'm not going to keep you long with this lesson because you need to go do your spelling test and your Catch Me If You Can test today. So those will be assigned to you today, your spelling test and your Catch Me If You Can test. Now that Catch Me If You Can test, it's going to have questions from the story. It's going to have verb questions in it. It's going to have vocabulary questions in it. So make sure you do that today. All the things we've learned this week, we're putting together and answering those tests correctly, okay? Before we do that, let's take a look at two quick slides. The first one here says Latin roots, vis, odd, and spec. So a lot of the words that we use every day they come from an older language called Latin. And the words that we have these Latin roots, and these Latin roots to words have specific meanings. And I'll show you what I mean here in this chart and when we get here in just a minute. A root is a basic word part, usually from Greek or Latin, that carries meaning. Three Latin roots are vis, odd, and spec. The root vis means to see. The root odd means to hear. The root spec means to look. So we're going to look at some words that have these roots in them and see how they relate to the meaning of that Latin root. So vis means to see. So vis. Now think about the word visit. If you were to visit your grandmother, you would go to see her, wouldn't you? Visit. It's that root, Latin root vis. It gives it the meaning of going to see somebody. Visible. Visible. If something is visible, you can what? You can see it. If it's invisible, you can't see it. So visible, to see. Odd means to hear, like audience. The audience hears the play or hears the music. Audience. Audible. If something is audible, it means you can hear it. If it's inaudible, it means you cannot hear it. And spec means to look. Here's our vocabulary word. Spectators. They're people looking at the ball game or looking at the concert, looking at the play. They're spectators. They're looking. And then inspect. If somebody comes to inspect, they come to look really closely at something. Maybe your mom says, clean your room, and then she comes and gives it, and she inspects your room. She looks to see if you really cleaned it or not, right? Inspect, to look. So these Latin roots, vis, odd, spec, the words we use that have this in them, it's going to have something to do with seeing. The words we use that have odd in them has something to do with hearing. The words we use that have spec in them has something to do with looking. Pretty cool, huh? All right. Now, remember your idioms poster is due today. Your idioms poster. So we looked at idioms on Wednesday. We talked about some of them. I gave you my example of a frog in my throat. It means I'm hoarse. There's other ones that we looked at, chip on my shoulder, and you watched a video of some kids with a whole bunch of them. Remember, you've got to do an idiom poster for me today that tells what your idiom is. I mean, you've got to turn it in by today. It tells what your idiom is. It tells what your idiom means, and then you're going to look up and put a picture from the internet on it, okay? So those three things on the poster are due today. An adage, remember, is just a general piece of advice. Actions speak louder than words. A proverb is just based on common sense or experience. All that glitters is not gold. So we'll come back to these two later, but today we're focusing on idioms. All right, I know you're going to do a great job on your two tests today, your reading test and your spelling test. So I'm not going to waste any more of your time talking right now. I'm going to let you go get busy. So have a great day. I'll look forward to seeing you in our Friday Google Meet today. See you then.